The town of Willow Creek was the kind of place where nothing exciting ever happened until it did. It was small, sleepy, and full of people who liked to gossip over coffee at the diner. I liked it that way. Quiet towns always hid the best secrets. My name's Elliot Voss, and I'm the guy who finds them. Not because I'm a detective or anything official, just because I'm good at seeing what others miss. Some say I'm a little too clever. I say they're just jealous. It was a foggy Tuesday morning when my day got interesting. I was in my office, a tiny room with a creaky desk and a coffee machine that sounded like it was dying. The door flew open, and in stormed Mrs. Harper. She was a short woman with wild gray hair and a voice that could wake the dead. Elliot. You have to help me, she shouted, waving her hands like she was swatting flies. My daughter's gone. I leaned back in my chair, sipping my coffee. It was too early for yelling, but I kept my cool. Good morning, Mrs. Harper. Gone where? Vanished, she said, snapping her fingers. Like a puff of smoke. She was supposed to get married yesterday, but poof, no wedding. I raised an eyebrow. No wedding? That's a twist. Tell me more. She started pacing, her shoes squeaking on the floor. Lila, that's my daughter, she was so happy. The dress was white and perfect, the flowers were ready, everything was set. But when we got to the church, she wasn't there. And neither was Tom, her fiancé. The guests waited for hours, Elliot. Hours. Something's wrong, I know it. I put my cup down and grinned. A missing bride and groom? That's not a wedding, it's a mystery. Where was this supposed to happen? St. Mary's, she said. The old church on the edge of town. Please, Elliot, you're the only one who can help. You always figure things out. Flattery's nice, I said, standing up, but coffee's better. Let's go check it out. She nodded fast, like a bobblehead. Thank you, thank you. I grabbed my jacket, a beat-up leather thing that made me look cooler than I was, and we headed out. The fog was thick outside, curling around the streets like a living thing. It made Willow Creek feel eerie, like a place where secrets could hide forever. It was an old building, all cracked stone and tall windows with colored glass. The fog wrapped around it, making it look like something from a spooky story. Mrs. Harper stayed in the car, too nervous to come in. I didn't mind. I work better alone, well, most of the time, inside. The church was silent. The air felt heavy, like someone had just left in a hurry. Rows of wooden benches stretched out in front of me, and up near the altar, I saw something odd, a single white rose, lying on the floor. I walked over and picked it up, twirling it between my fingers. A bride doesn't leave her flowers behind, I muttered. Not unless she didn't want to go. Talking to yourself again, Voss, a voice said behind me. I turned, and there she was, Clara Evans, the town's only detective. She had dark hair pulled back tight, green eyes that could cut through steel, and a smirk that said she didn't like me much. I liked her anyway, Clara, I said, tipping an imaginary hat. What brings you here? Solving crimes, or just missing me? She crossed her arms. Mrs. Harper called me too. Said her daughter's missing. I told her I'd look into it. Didn't know she dragged you into this. She didn't drag me, I said. I'm here for fun. And coffee. Clara rolled her eyes. You're ridiculous. And you're cute when you're mad, I shot back, grinning. Look at this. I held up the rose. She stepped closer, her smirk fading. That's from the wedding bouquet. I saw the florist bring them yesterday. Smart girl, I said. So why's it here, all alone? Where's Lila? Where's Tom? Clara frowned. Maybe they ran off together. Young love, cold feet. I shook my head. No chance. Look. I pointed to the floor. Tiny white petals were scattered near the altar. Someone dropped this fast. And here, I crouched down and ran my finger along the wood. Scratches. Fresh ones. Something heavy got dragged. Clara's eyes narrowed. You think they were taken? I don't think, I said, standing up. I know. And I bet this isn't the first weird thing to happen around here. She sighed. You and your wild ideas. What's your next step? Find the groom's best man, I said. He's hiding something. Clara tilted her head. And you know this how? I tapped my temple. I see things, Clara. Stick with me, you might learn something. She groaned, but I saw a tiny smile. Fine, let's go. Clara and I left the church and headed to the town diner. The best man, Henry, was there. I'd seen him earlier that week, bragging about the wedding over a stack of pancakes. If anyone knew something, it was him. Clara didn't argue about coming along, but she kept her distance, arms crossed like she was guarding herself from my charm. Good luck with that. The diner smelled like grease and coffee, a mix that always made me hungry. Henry was easy to spot, tall, skinny, and sweating like he'd just run from something. He sat in a booth, shoving pancakes into his mouth like it was his last meal. I slid into the seat across from him, grinning. Henry, I said, leaning forward. You look like a man with a secret. He choked, coughing bits of pancake onto the table. What? Who are you? Elliot Voss, I said. I'm here about Tom and Lila. Where are they? I don't know, he said, his voice high and shaky. His eyes darted to the window, then back to me. They didn't show up. That's it. I tilted my head, watching him. Henry, you're a terrible liar. Your left eye twitches when you're nervous. It's twitching now. So, let's try this again. What happened at the church? He wiped his sweaty hands on his jeans. Okay, fine. I saw something. Before the wedding. Tom was outside, talking to this guy. What guy? I asked, keeping my voice calm. I don't know. Henry said. He was tall, wore a black coat. His face, it was weird. Like, blurry. I couldn't see it right. Tom looked scared, really scared. Then they went inside the church, and I didn't see them after that. I leaned back, tapping my fingers on the table. A blurry face? That's new. What about Lila? She was in the back room, getting ready, Henry said. I heard her laugh, happy, you know? Then, nothing. When I checked later, she was gone. Just gone. A man with no face and a vanishing bride, I said, grinning. Sounds like my kind of Tuesday. Henry stared at me. You're crazy. Probably, I said, standing up. Thanks, Henry. Enjoy your pancakes. Try not to choke again. I walked outside, where Clara was leaning against the wall, watching the door. She looked annoyed, but that was normal with me around. Well, she asked, raising an eyebrow. Tom met a mystery man in a black coat, I said. No face, according to Henry. Then poof, both Tom and Lila disappeared. No face? Clara said, crossing her arms. That's nonsense. Is it? I asked. Henry's scared out of his mind. He's not smart enough to make that up. And this town's got a history, disappearances, strange lights in the woods. You've read the reports. She glared at me. You're saying this is some ghost story? I'm saying it's not a ghost story, I replied, winking. Come on, Clara. Let's check the woods behind the church. That's where the trail goes. She groaned. I hate when you drag me into this stuff. You love it, I teased. Admit it. Shut up, she said, but I caught her hiding a smile as we headed to her car. The woods behind St. Mary's were dark and thick, even in the daytime. The fog stuck to the trees like glue, making everything look soft and strange. I walked ahead, Clara a few steps behind. She didn't like woods, too many bugs, she always said. I didn't mind. Bugs don't talk back. We didn't say much as we moved deeper in. Silence was better for listening, and I was listening hard. Then I heard it, a low hum, like a machine running far away. It made the hairs on my neck stand up. You hear that? I whispered. Clara nodded, her hand resting on her gun. What is it? Let's find out, I said, pushing through the branches. We reached a clearing, and my jaw dropped. In the middle was a circle of stones, old, mossy, and covered in weird symbols I didn't recognize. They looked like they'd been there forever. And in the center of the circle, a single shoe. A woman's shoe, white, with a small heel. Lila's? Clara asked, stepping closer. Looks like it, I said. I walked into the circle, and the humming got louder. The air felt strange, like it was buzzing with energy. I crouched by the shoe, picking it up. It was clean, no mud, no wear. Like it had just been dropped. Elliot, Clara said, her voice tight. Look. I turned to where she was pointing. At the edge of the clearing, a figure stood. Tall, in a black coat. His face, it wasn't there. Just a dark, shifting shadow where a face should be. My heart skipped, but I kept my cool. Hey! I shouted. Who are you? What's your deal? The figure didn't move. Then, in a blink, it was gone, like it had never been there. Clara grabbed my arm. What the hell was that? Trouble, I said, grinning. The fun kind. She stared at me. You're insane. And you're still holding my arm, I pointed out. She let go fast, her face turning pink. Let's get out of here. Not yet, I said. The clearing in the woods felt alive, like the air itself was watching us. That faceless figure in the black coat had vanished, but I could still feel its presence, like a shadow that wouldn't leave. Clara stood next to me, her green eyes wide, her hand hovering near her gun. She didn't like this. I didn't blame her. But me? I was hooked. We should go, Clara said, her voice low. This place gives me the creeps. Creeps are my specialty, I said, grinning. One more look around, then we'll head back. Promise. She sighed. You're impossible. And you're still here, I replied, winking. Come on, help me check the stones. We split up, circling the ring of old rocks. The symbols carved into them were strange, loops and lines that didn't look like any language I knew. I ran my fingers over one, and the humming in the air got louder, vibrating in my chest. It wasn't just a sound, it was a feeling, like something big was waking up. Elliot. Clara called. I jogged over to her side. She was kneeling by one of the stones, pointing at the ground. Look at this. There, half buried in the dirt, was a silver ring. Simple, with a tiny heart scratched into it. I picked it up, turning it in the light. Engagement ring? Could be Tom's, Clara said. Or Lila's. Hard to tell. I slipped it into my pocket. Either way, it's a clue. They were here, or someone wants us to think they were. Clara stood, brushing dirt off her hands. You think this is a setup? Maybe, I said. Or maybe it's something weirder. That guy with no face didn't look human to me. She glared at me. Don't start with that supernatural nonsense again. Too late, I said, grinning. This town's got secrets, Clara. You can't deny it. She opened her mouth to argue, but then the humming stopped. Dead silence fell over the woods. Even the birds went quiet. I felt a chill crawl up my spine, not fear, just excitement. Something was coming. I could feel it. Let's go, I said, nodding toward the path. We've got enough for now. Clara didn't argue this time. We walked back to her car in silence, the fog thicker than before. My mind was racing, missing bride, missing groom, a faceless man, and now a ring in a creepy stone circle. This wasn't just a case. This was a game. And I was going to win. Back at my office, Mrs. Harper was waiting. She'd let herself in, again, and was pacing by my desk, wringing her hands. When she saw us, she rushed over. Did you find her? She asked, her voice shaking. Did you find Lila? Not yet, I said, pouring coffee from my grumpy machine. But we're close. Someone, or something, took Lila and Tom. We found this. I pulled the ring from my pocket and held it up. Mrs. Harper gasped. That's Tom's. He showed it to me last week. Where was it? In the woods, Clara said, leaning against the wall. Near the church. We're still figuring it out. Mrs. Harper's eyes filled with tears. Please, Elliot. You have to bring her back. I will, I said, handing her a tissue. I don't lose, Mrs. Harper. Not when there's coffee on the line. She blinked at me, confused. Coffee? He's joking, Clara said, rolling her eyes. Sort of. I grinned. See? She gets me. Mrs. Harper managed a small smile. You too, are you flirting? No, Clara snapped, her face turning red. Maybe, I said at the same time, winking at her. Clara groaned. Focus, Voss. I am, I said. On the case and on you. She threw her hands up. I'm done. Call me when you've got something real. She stormed out, but I saw her smirk before the door closed. Mrs. Harper looked at me, hopeful. You'll find them, right? Count on it, I said. This is just the beginning. After she left, I sat at my desk, spinning the ring between my fingers. The mystery was bigger than I thought. A faceless man, ancient stones, a humming that wasn't normal, it all pointed to something strange. Lila and Tom were out there, caught in whatever this was. I'd find them, not because I had to, but because I couldn't resist a puzzle this good. I leaned back, sipping my coffee. The woods were hiding something, something old, maybe dangerous. And that figure? It wasn't human. I'd bet my last dollar on it. But I wasn't scared. I was curious. And when I got curious, things got interesting. Clara would come around. She always did. She acted tough, but she liked the chase as much as I did. Plus, she looked cute when she was mad. I chuckled to myself, imagining her face if I said that out loud. She'd probably punch me. Worth it, the phone rang, snapping me out of my thoughts. I picked it up. Elliot Voss, mystery solver extraordinaire. A voice crackled through, low, rough, and unfamiliar. You're digging where you shouldn't, Voss. Leave it alone. I grinned. Sorry, pal. I don't scare easy. Who's this? Silence. Then a click. The line went dead. Well, I said to the empty room, that's one way to keep me interested. I set the phone down and looked out the window. The fog was still thick, hiding Willow Creek in a gray blanket. Somewhere out there, Lila and Tom were waiting. And so was that faceless thing. I'd find them all, one way or another.